Penguin Random House Audio presents Claire, Darling, a novel by Callie Kazumi, read for you by Bronwen Price. For Pappy, who taught me to chase my dreams. I looked down at her body, crumpled in an awkward heap, dark blood pooling beneath the head. I stare at the glistening burgundy puddle and try to make myself feel something. Anything. Relief, guilt, regret, fear. But strangely, and for the first time in a long time, I feel nothing at all. Does this make me a monster? Or is it how shock works? She is completely still. I wonder if I should try to stem the bleeding, but even I can tell it's pointless. Her head is caved in on one side, dented almost, and she's foaming at the mouth. There is no undoing this. Oh, God! I step backward and stagger, losing my balance. I take in the scene. Tea spilled everywhere, a dead woman, and me, in the middle of it all. Part 1. 1. September the 19th, 2025. Dear Diary, I'm writing this on my way in to work. The tube is pretty rammed, but I managed to grab a seat. Last night I was too busy to write, but it was a wonderful evening, and I want to make sure to note down as much of it as I can so that I can look back on the memories. Our anniversary! I picked up some celebratory Prosecco on the way home, as well as all of Noah's favourite treats. 2 juicy sirloin steaks from Sainsbury's, some potatoes, veg, and Jaffa cakes for dessert. Obviously those were for Noah. He'll eat a whole packet in one sitting. The question is, are they a cake or a biscuit? Noah says cake because of the spongy texture, and I'm inclined to agree. I managed to put together dinner for us with some hand-cut chips roasted with garlic and rosemary. I didn't even overcook the steaks. Medium rare, just how we both like it. I wanted it to be special, our first big milestone together. Noah greeted me when I arrived home with a box of my favourite chocolates, which he'd wrapped in a ribbon, bless him. I'd made the right choices too, because when he was helping me to unpack the shopping, he brought his hand to his chest and exclaimed, "Steaks and Jaffa cakes!" in dramatic delight. I slapped his hand away from the Jaffas playfully before he could spoil his supper. He slipped a hand around my back, kissed the base of my neck, and said, "Happy first anniversary, my Claire." I love when he says that, my Claire. I spent all my energy focusing on him, on the dinner, on the night. I didn't want to spend one moment thinking about the other thing that happened this time last year. I wanted it to be a wonderful night, to leave the past behind me where it belonged. Noah made it easy. We spent the evening chatting away easily, always on the brink of flirtation. He put on some old-school romantic music while I cooked, Nat King Cole crooning about love, and Noah occasionally stopping me to pop a chocolate bonbon into my mouth. Cliché, but it didn't feel that way. I know if I were watching, I'd squeeze my eyes shut in a cringe, but I can't help behaving like this with him. So he fussed about me while I seasoned and flustered over supper, sometimes pausing with a hand on the small of my back while he got us bubbly top-ups from out of the fridge, and I caught him up on how work has been going. I didn't want to speak about work particularly, but he asked. He's been so invested in it, which I suppose makes sense, as he's the one who convinced me to apply for my new job. I've been there for 6 months now, and I have him to thank for this role. I'd probably have just stayed put otherwise. But now I'm at a small boutique PR company and enjoying it so much. We laughed about the fact I'd been so worried about applying, going over the story again between sips of Prosecco and sending joking eye rolls at each other. He'd seen the job advert and printed it out, left it unsubtly on the kitchen table at my usual breakfast seat. I'd read it and pretended to forget about it, until a week later he'd raised it casually over dinner. "Did you ever see that job ad I saved for you?" I told him I just wasn't sure it was the right role for me. He'd asked why, told me it sounded like the perfect next step for me, and that was when I realised I didn't really have an answer for him. It had sounded great, and he was so sincere in his belief I could get it, that it made me give it due consideration. I'd been nervous to apply, of course, mostly of the rejection if I didn't get it, but also of meeting a new team, having a new office. It all felt daunting and overwhelming. I didn't even have to say any of this, though. No one knew. Somehow he always knows what I'm thinking and feeling. He spent the whole of that dinner convincing me I deserved a pay raise, and stroked my hair and told me I was brilliant, until it seeped in, and I convinced myself to apply. And now, here I am, 6 months in, probation officially passed. So as I prepared our meal, I told him about my newest client frustrations and the lunchtime gossip shared with Suki from my team. I'm not sure I'd go so far as to say we are friends, but I think we're getting there. We spend nearly every lunchtime together now, and occasionally talk about personal things outside of work. By the time I had caught him up on everything PR-related, dinner was steaming on 2 plates at the table, and he lit a candle and put it between us. "To us." I held my glass up in the air, and he mirrored the action with a smile that made me weak at the knees. "To us." After dinner, with a belly full of Prosecco, okay, and a glass of wine, my head was hazy as I made my way to the bedroom. I still have a bit of a headache now, truth be told. I'm obviously not used to drinking, but last night was a cause for celebration. Plus, this time of year, the things that happened the week I met Noah, well, it's an exception. Noah insisted he'd do the washing up, as I'd cooked, and after the glasses of fizz, I was too sleepy to protest. I was in bed, half asleep and drowsy with alcohol, when I felt him slide in beside me. I'd been imagining us in 5 years, with a little baby, half him, half me. A loved, cared-for little baby, who I would always put first, no matter what. Noah's body was warm and firm against mine, and I snuggled in deeper, smiling softly. We made love, of course. I fell asleep in the blissful throes of post-orgasm relaxation, and the last thing I remember was him saying, "Good night, my Claire," as I fell asleep in his arms. It was the perfect anniversary. Claire. 2. "What are your plans for lunch?" Suki asks. She pops her head over the top of the partition around my workstation, blowing a strand of her thick raven-black hair away from her face. I am standing at my desk with Photoshop on my laptop, a half-designed press release displayed on the screen. I'm feeling particularly short of creative inspiration today, so I was about to take a break and suggest a coffee to her. Suki always has a cup of coffee and biscuits at 11 in the kitchenette. She calls it 11's, and I now go along with her, pleased to have been invited to join the ritual. Her mug is kept on her desk instead of in the kitchen cabinet, for fear of someone stealing it. It proudly declares her to be #1 top bitch, and is shaped to look like a poodle sitting on its hind legs. In comfortable silence, we walk around to the kitchenette. Suki places her mug on the side and then takes 2 digestive biscuits from the communal jar, slotting them into the giant mug's cookie slot, aka the poodle's mouth. In contrast, I pull out the cleanest-looking branded mug.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?